Giannis Antetokounmpo seriously in play on the trade market this season? Sure looks that way. Who could ultimately walk away with the Greek phenom? I'm Trevor Lane. Make sure you subscribe right here to the Basketball Bulletin. We'd appreciate it if you come along with us on this journey. All right, let's dive into the latest. Giannis Antetokounmpo, there's been buzz growing for a while now that he could leave the Milwaukee Bucks. He's mentioned it a number of times in the past that he may not finish his career in Milwaukee, and brought up recently a essentially reverse trade request where he said the Bucks may trade him this summer if they don't win an NBA championship this year, kind of hinting that the Bucks will want to get rid of him when we know that's not going to be the case. Pretty creative way to say, hey, I may want out if I'm Giannis Antetokounmpo. But this coming from CBS's Bill Ryder said teams are circling and hopeful. An anonymous West executive for a Western Conference team told Bill Ryder. Another NBA executive said they wouldn't be surprised if an Antetokounmpo trade happened by the February 8th trade deadline. And a third executive for an Eastern Conference team said they have heard Antetokounmpo's preferred trade destinations would be the Miami Heat or the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, so you've got multiple execs. Now, this is not within the Bucks, but you've got multiple execs talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo and the likelihood that he could leave the Bucks, and that likelihood does seem to be growing. You take a look at what the Bucks are doing right now. You know, Giannis has said for years that as long as the Bucks are contending, he'll be happy to stay. But take a look at what they're doing right now. 3-1. I'm sorry, 1-3. Flip that. 1-3 on the NBA season with losses to Chicago and Brooklyn. Now, no shame in losing to Boston. Obviously, they're fantastic. They did that most recently. But this is a Bucks team that is expected to be able to contend potentially in the Eastern Conference, to at least have that kind of upside. And you just drop games to Chicago and Brooklyn, and both of them in kind of blowout fashion. You lost by 11, and then you lost by 13 to the Brooklyn Nets, two teams that are not expected to be good this season. Your one win comes over the Philadelphia 76ers, but that's without Joel Embiid and without Paul George. So not a great start. And this is a Bucks team, remember, that's already kind of questionable with what they've been doing. You've got 2 years in a row, the last 2 years, of kind of embarrassing first-round exits for a team that should be much, much better than this. The Damian Lillard trade has not worked out the way that they wanted it to. That's been a problem. Damian Lillard, while I think he's been better on the season, defensively, it's been a big step down from Drew Holiday, so the net effect has not been a good one. And I don't think the players they've got next to Dame, and they've done what they can under the salary cap, but Gary Trent Jr., he's not the defensive stopper that you need next to Dame. You need somebody who can do the defensive things that Damian Lillard can't do. And so far, they haven't had that. Last year, they tried Malik Beasley. That didn't work. Now it's Gary Trent Jr. That's not going to work out for them either. I think Gary Trent was fine on a minimum contract. That was really good value, but he's not the fit that they need. They need a 3-and-D. They need a Lou Dort. They need an Alex Caruso, someone like that in that spot, but those guys are difficult to find. So now you look at the Milwaukee Bucks. If the playoffs were to start today, yes, it's early, but they wouldn't even be in the play-in right now in the Eastern Conference. Not a great sign at all. So the Heat and the Nets, those are the teams that Giannis is reportedly interested in. Now, Giannis did say at the end of the day, we have a great team. I believe we will keep on playing better and learning from mistakes. Eventually, we'll start winning games. I don't think we're far off. I don't care about the record. I care about keep on building, people being healthy and get where we want to get. So it's not like Giannis is right now at this moment demanding to be traded, but clearly the vultures are circling, and there's a belief that this could be happening sooner rather than later, where we see Giannis actually part ways with the Milwaukee Bucks. Again, he's talked about this for a while, that as long as the Bucks are winning, he's fine. But if they're not, then maybe he'll want to go elsewhere. Now, contractually, the Bucks don't have to do anything. If we want to take a peek here, Milwaukee has him under contract now for at least the next 3 seasons, including this one, $48.7 million, $54.1 million, and then $58 million. Then there's a player option. So we are 3 years away from Giannis being able to force his way out. But you have to wonder if Giannis goes to the Bucks and says, hey, this is not working. I've won MVPs for you guys. I've won the championship for you guys. Let's work together here and let's find a new home. We do see teams in those situations try to do right by the player and you'd have to imagine too, the Bucks would get a really strong price. Teams would immediately, 29 teams in the NBA would at the very least make the phone call and have the conversation about what do we do to get Giannis. He is that good. You look at the Bucks salaries, though, and you look at this roster, I think it's just too old. It's just too old. Chris Middleton at 33, and he's an old 33. Brooke Lopez is 36. Even Pat Connaughton, he's 32. You don't have that exciting young talent in here on this team. Damian Lillard is 34. This team, with the defensive issues that they've got, I don't know that they've got the upside to really go here. And that's why I had the Milwaukee Bucks as my faller this season, because I just don't believe in them right now. You look at what they've done the last couple of years in the first round, they've burned everybody a few times now, not living up to their potential. I'm not going to trust in this team until they prove it and show something on the court. And if they don't prove it, that's where some teams are going to start circling. So Miami and Brooklyn. Let's take a look at that. How does Miami get to a Giannis trade? By the way, if I'm Giannis, this makes all the sense in the world. If I've spent my entire NBA career in Milwaukee during winter, yeah, you damn well better have Miami on your list of teams that you may want to go to. By the way, the fact that a list of teams is leaking already tells you how real this is, right? I mean, the fact that teams we're already hearing teams he would be interested in, that tells you this is something that is really being thought about here, or at least something that's being considered for the future. So Jimmy Butler's salary obviously would make it an easy swap. Do the Bucks want Jimmy Butler? No, honestly, if I'm the Bucks and I'm trading Giannis, I probably want a bunch of future assets. So could you do something around Tyler Hero, and then you could add, say, if I'm Milwaukee, I'm not walking away without getting. I probably want both of Jaime Jaquez and Kel'el Ware. Kel'el Ware looked great during Summer League. Jaime Jaquez could do some things for you as a young player. I'm not interested in Jimmy Butler if I'm Milwaukee, because I don't want to just add another young player. Give me young talent. If I could get Bam, that would be great. But if I'm Miami, I'm telling Milwaukee, Jimmy, Bam, those guys, we know they don't want Jimmy. Bam, we're not moving him. We want to pair Bam with Giannis. That's fine. You build something around Tyler Hero, Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez, and then you figure out the salaries from there. Maybe it needs to be a Terry Rozier in a deal or something like that, whose contract is bizarrely guaranteed. If you look at this next season, $24.9 million of the $26.6 million is guaranteed. Like, why not just guarantee the whole thing? That's the strangest guaranteed amount that I've seen. You could save a little over $1 million if you were to just waive him, because you've got that portion of his salary that's not guaranteed. But yeah, that's a strange one there. But you could go ahead and make a move like that, stack up a few salaries. Again, I want multiple future draft picks, whatever I can get there. I want Kel'el Ware, I want Jaime Jaquez, and off you go. And then you're doing something there. And then you're saying, hey, we've got a window here. Jimmy, Giannis, Bam. Let's see what we can do with the roster from there. Now, Brooklyn, if I'm Milwaukee and I decide, okay, Giannis says he wants to go, I want Brooklyn. This is the team I would want to trade with, would be the Brooklyn Nets, not Miami. And if I'm Giannis, maybe I'd prefer to go to Miami, but I would go, if I'm Milwaukee, I'd be looking at Brooklyn, because I want young talent, because I want future picks. And I think the Brooklyn Nets can give you that. If you're Brooklyn, though, it's interesting, because the last time that the future looked this bright for Brooklyn, and I know they're expected to be bad this year. They've actually won a couple of games recently that you wouldn't expect them to win. But if I'm Brooklyn, it's, do I do the same thing I just did? It was a period, about 6 years ago or so, where they were an exciting young team, the upstart team that was surprising some people, winning some games. They were the plucky up-and-coming group. And then they cashed in all their chips, and they went and got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and the rest is a disaster, right? It blows up in their faces, essentially. And now they're back to square one. They've had to trade away Kyrie. They had to trade away Kevin Durant. They even had James Harden, had to trade him away. And now here they are, trying to start anew. If they go through this process again, though, and it's, okay, we've got all these pieces, and all right, let's cash them in now to get Giannis, are you just doing the same thing, perpetuating the same issue? But nonetheless, if Giannis says he's interested in your team, it's certainly a conversation you have to have. And so when you look at pieces the Brooklyn Nets can put together, well, if I'm Milwaukee, I go, $40 million expiring contract. Yes, please. Let's clean up the books. If Giannis is leaving and we're going to build for the future, let's clean up the books. Ben Simmons, $40 million expiring, get that money off your books. That would certainly be helpful. Then you start talking Cam Thomas, who's been great, right? He's a gunner, but he's a talented young player. All right, let's look at that. Future draft capital. Remember, Brooklyn got their own picks back. Would they be better with Giannis? Yes, but now still you've got some future draft capital that you could go after since they traded Mikal Bridges, which, by the way, I thought was a fantastic trade for the Brooklyn Nets, trading away Bridges when they did and getting the return they got. So you can build something around future draft capital, big expiring contract. You've got a young player in Cam Thomas. You could look at some other guys too if you want to say, hey, could Cam Johnson be involved in a 3-team deal and you get some assets coming your way in that regard? You could do something there. Could you get Cam Johnson coming back? Could you stack up another salary with Giannis? Could you add in a Brook Lopez? Could you add in somebody like Pat Connaughton and start stacking up a few salaries with Giannis and add back multiple pieces? Maybe you can do something like that. But there's some interesting players. Noah Clowney, somebody to take a peek at. But mostly you'd be looking at big expiring, future draft capital, Cam Thomas. Those are the things that I want minimum if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks and I'm trying to make a deal like this happen. Again, if I'm the Nets, I'd be a little bit nervous about once again going all in on a superstar route because, as soon as you get Giannis, the pressure is going to be on to add pieces to help him win and help him win right now. So you don't find yourself in the same situation that the Bucks are in with a Giannis who wants to win and wants to go wherever will allow him to do that. But some options there. Interesting that here we are looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo trades and that the rumors suggest that there's a growing belief this could really happen, especially if the Bucks continue to struggle. So we're going to be keeping an eye on the Milwaukee Bucks because, oh boy, trade season could heat up big time if suddenly Giannis Antetokounmpo is on the trade market by that February deadline. But everybody give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Giannis, maybe on the way out from Milwaukee. And what do you think about the Nets and the Heat as potential landing spots for him? Again, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Till next time, everybody, subscribe right here to the channel. Don't forget to do that. See ya. Stay safe and happy Halloween.